What's up guys, and welcome. This is a very special video as I've got my hands today on the LG G3 smartphone. And this one grabs the headlines for a few different reasons. The first one really is the fact that it's got a 1440p screen, which is a Quad HD screen. Now what does that mean? Well, that means that the image is going to be sharper than ever, and it's got a 5.5-inch screen to go along with that. So while it's going to be a bigger screen, you're still going to be able to get a really nice sharp image. And because the screen has such narrow bezels, it also means that it's still quite light and it still actually fits in your hand and that you can use it one-handed absolutely fine. So the phone itself is polycarbonate and it's got a sort of metallic-like finish. The result is that while it doesn't feel like metal, it still keeps the phone light and it still looks good. And I don't really have an issue with that, and that's something I quite like because it means that your phone is still quite light and you're able to handle it well. So with a smartphone these days, one of the most important things is the camera. And this one is very simple. You obviously, just like a camera, you press the button and the photos come out really nice and sharp, and I'm happy with that. Video quality, however, is just as good, and it uses a laser focus system, which means that quickly changing isn't an issue and that you get a nice resulting clear video. Now the smartphone is very quick and speedy, and that's because it's got 2 or 3 gigabytes of RAM depending on the storage option you go for. I don't have any particular issue with the speed. The only thing I would say that I did notice is that sometimes multitasking isn't quite as quick as I would like it to be, but this is a very minor flaw and you're literally talking about a couple of microseconds. Now the phone comes in 2 storage options, either the 16 or 32 gigabyte variants. Both of these are backupable with an external storage via a micro SD card, and the SIM card is a micro SIM. Now for me, one of the most important things about a smartphone is its ability to play music. Now the storage is already there, as I've said, there's plenty of it, so you're going to be able to put all your music on there, and of course you can use a Google subscription to get all your music if that's what you want to do. But the sound quality is really good. I listened to a couple of FLAC files on it and it sounded absolutely brilliant, but of course those are uncompressed files. MP3s also sounded very, very good, and I have absolutely no complaints about using this phone on a day-to-day basis as a music player. Now LG have gone with quite a nice slick interface. The problem with creating an interface is that sometimes you want to put too many unique features in there and it gets to the point where you don't really know what they do and they just slow up the phone. But I'm happy to report that the interface is nice and slick and it is pretty responsive as well. It's nice to look at and it is also pretty user-friendly. Now one of the unique features with this phone is Smart Notice. What is Smart Notice? Well, Smart Notice tells you stuff that it thinks you're going to need. That's why it's called Smart Notice. An example of this is if you get a telephone call and then you reject it, so I don't know, maybe you're in a church and you can't take a telephone call, it will remind you later to actually go and speak to that person in case you forget. Another example is with the weather. If it's going to rain, you want to take an umbrella and it tells you that, which I think is pretty brilliant. Now I've only had a short amount of time to spend with this actual phone, but overall I'm very impressed. But I'd like to know some more questions, and I'm sure you would, so I'm going to bring a spokesperson over who is going to be able to answer some questions that you might have about this phone. So I'm here with a spokesperson from LG, Sean, who's just going to answer a couple of my questions, the questions that I want to know, and obviously I'm sure the questions that any consumer, which obviously is you guys, are going to want to know. So firstly, Sean, what feature are you most proud of in this phone? You know, what is a technological aspect of the phone that you think is really fantastic that the consumer is going to want?
Right, that's a really good question. For the first time, actually, we've introduced a laser-guided autofocus on the handset, most commonly seen on digital SLRs, but we've introduced it on a smartphone for the very first time globally. What that allows you to do is to actually be able to take images at a fraction of the seconds that you would with the competitor devices out there, which means in fast-moving scenarios or in low light conditions, you can always take the best pictures available to you with the LG G3.
Okay, well that sounds good, but how does this actually compare with some of the other market leaders? I mean, like the Samsung Galaxy S5, for example, has waterproofing. How does that actually compare? So
while we didn't have waterproofing on the device, I mean, we felt it necessary actually to have a nice, very light handset, which is has a really nice metallic feel to the actual device itself. It sits quite comfortably in the hand. That's basically because of the way the handset arcs, and it's actually quite slim, so it doesn't actually jar your palm. One of the other features, obviously, that we're quite proud of, clearly, is actually the Quad HD display. And it really makes it quite comfortable for the viewer to actually see. So you asked the question earlier on, why a Quad HD display? Really, because you can actually see a hell of a lot of detail, and people can actually recognize the pixel density over and above 300 ppi, and this is testament to that.
Well, what was the PPI?
So this is 538 ppi, so it's actually very similar to what you would actually get in a gallery in terms of print quality, and this is clearly laid out on the LG G3.
We've listed a lot of reasons already, but realistically, why should the consumer, the person watching this video, go out and buy this phone rather than something like a Nexus 5, which is a bit cheaper, or like the Galaxy S5 or iPhone? Why should they buy this phone?
Yeah. Right, so this actually is a groundbreaking piece of kit. Firstly, as I mentioned earlier, because of the display, it offers offers greater quality without actually having to do anything for the end user. And our device is actually a lot cheaper than kind of like some of the high-end competitors when you actually see it in the market. However, the stylish design, the lightweight finish, things like Smart Notice, think people will come to know and enjoy. The ability to use the camera a lot easier than you would do. So you've got a very simple, very clean UI, and it's just a simple touch and shoot, or even down to actually how you actually take a selfie. Being able to use a simple gesture just to take a selfie allows you to actually strike your pose, 3-second countdown, very easily done. And that's capable because we've actually increased the pixel size actually of the front-facing camera. So actually the front-facing camera is exactly the same pixel size as what you get on an 8-megapixel camera on the iPhone 5S.
So like the low light sort of performance is
absolutely,
then? Okay.
Absolutely. Okay. And on top of that, I mean, even if you're actually in a low light situation, we actually have a flash for selfie, which actually puts a white border around the actual camera view. So you can always take the best selfie wherever you are.
Well, thanks very much for watching this video, guys. I'm genuinely convinced. I think it's a great handset, and it's a shame that I can't obviously leave with one today. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you have any comments, leave them below. Don't forget to like the video if you thought it was very useful, and of course dislike it if you thought it was an absolute waste of everybody's time. Don't forget to subscribe to PC Centric for more videos like this on PCs, gaming and technology. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.